Okay, so welcome to this first session of our OLX Women's Business Series. So basically in these sessions, we will discuss topics related to career development, self-development, and are the topics relevant to women. And for this session, for this first one, we invited two strong leaders, so Aga and Magda, who are responsible for two large businesses here at OLX and are also responsible to inspire and motivate their teams. So today we will talk about professional development, the importance of personal development too, and self-care to our daily work and daily life. And they will also share experiences that hopefully will enrich you all. So maybe we can start by introducing ourselves. Ada, would you like to go first?
Sure. Welcome, everybody. I'm very happy to see you here in this session. I have a lot of energy coming from my morning run, so I will try to pass it through the screen to you guys. So as majority of you know, I'm the general manager of Automoto, the leading classifieds platform in Poland, which is super important. So we are the leaders delivering and building products that our users love. And if they don't see the value yet, this is our task to show them what the value is. My origin is actually automotive. So before OLX, I worked for 9 years at Porsche. So the ones of you who know me know that already. I've been responsible for sales in the country, also managing teams, hitting targets, and bringing values of the bringing values of the brand to the market. And before that, since I'm such a young person, I was simply studying, but that also shaped me a lot. I'm actually, from my education field, I'm a teacher. So if you have any need to learn German or English, I'm very happy to support. I love working with kids, with adults, with the whole portfolio of people who need it. And yeah, and that's me. So thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna take over here. Actually, you got me in transition because until Monday, I was the GM of our services platform Fixly in Poland. Actually, I started a new job, from Monday, and I'm a programmatic director for Europe. So the title may be not in place totally, but as you may probably understand, these changes, don't happen overnight, and they have to be communicated in time. So I'm going to follow Aga's convention here, and my background or my origin is Google. I've been with Google previously before joining OLX for 9 years, but I like to define myself in two ways. So first, like professionally, probably Google, the whole technology shaped me, to be the person who I am. But also I have a big personal story. I've been helping my parents in their shop since I was 11. And I think that this is also the fact that defined me a lot. So a funny thing was when I went for the first job audition, I could have told them that I have so many years of experience in merchandising and sales, accounting and stuff, but nobody really treated this thing seriously. And I was so really, really serious about my job and helping my parents. Yeah, so what more can I say? I'm looking forward to that session.
Thank you for your presentation. So maybe let's start with a powerful question. Who are the women in your life who inspire you? Would you like to start, Magda?
So maybe a kind of like a two-way response, because I gather inspiration from mostly from my life. So I would say my mom and the women around me are very, very inspiring for me, and the women that I work with. I was born in the 80s, so I remember the times when it was pretty hard in Poland, and I saw my mom and our neighbors doing really wonderful things with the scarcity of stuff that we had. And as a kid, like I never remembered that we missed anything, that we lacked something. And my mom and her friends, her neighbors, were always eager, to provide us kids, with everything that we wanted, even if it wasn't there. On the other side, I have these like big personas in history, in the world, that I admire. For the first, it's Iga Świątek. So the young woman who won the US Open, and I think it's her third Grand Slam this year. I do admire Oprah for how she went through very difficult life experiences. And of course, like all the women who break through the recent new scientific discoveries, there is this Polish professor that was helping or leading the study to kind of breed mice from embryos. It's a very scary progress thing, but I think that in science, you know, what women do is commendable. Yeah.
And for you, Magda.
So I will not be original, and I can only repeat what Magda has said. I was so lucky to have wonderful women in my family, very caring, very vulnerable. So this loving part of me is definitely coming from the women's sector in the Czajka family. And I must tell you, because I actually got mostly shaped by men in terms of my professional life, and I will maybe have the chance to discuss it later on. Only when I joined OLX Group, I realized that vulnerability is one of the key factors to succeed in life in general. So my family members helped me a lot, and on the role models, on the ladies that I truly admire, Oprah is in one of my top 3, but I would also say Ellen DeGeneres. She was hosting for 19 seasons a show, Ellen DeGeneres Show. I can only encourage you to surf in the internet to watch it. Super funny. But she went, even though in the US, so we could think that US is actually very open to change. She struggled because she is homosexual, so she was very successful until she spoke about her sexuality, and then all the jobs quit, all the opportunities somehow were blocked, and how she made it through that process, and what a role model she is for people around the world, supporting also animals, gorillas in Africa, just to name one of the foundations she has. It's for me, she's unbelievable and super funny, apart from the fact. And the second one that very much inspires me is Angela Merkel. And the ones of you who know me know that I'm a German culture, language, and food freak. So I love Germany. And if it wasn't for my personal life, my boyfriend, who's not very keen on it, I would definitely go there and maybe apply for a role in our Berlin office. Not yet, maybe in the future. But I love Germany. So Angela, for me, she is, it is unbelievable how well she did in this very cruel world of politics, where majority of them are men. So it is quite challenging for her, at least I think it was. She made super bold decisions that had consequences not only for her country, but also for Europe in general. And she did not step back, which I loved. I mean, if I could give you maybe some advice, or I would give myself an advice, is just be bold and whatever, and stay yourself. And I think this is something that, because everybody criticized her for letting immigrants in to Europe and accepting them in Germany. So just to name one of the actions she managed. So, and she, I wanted to say something, but I won't. But she held all the presidents of the world in her arms, not to call it differently, and she was super close to them and gathered them. So these are the women that inspire me. But I must say that in general, I'm very much inspired as well by ladies in our organization. Just to look at Magda, super inspired. I only can encourage you to grab a coffee with Magda. She will tell you about the hobbies she has, which are extreme, or maybe extreme because she's a lady, but still. And she's such an interesting person I can only recommend you to spend
But
some
Aga,
time.
you know that Angela Merkel also got on my list, but I chose Margaret Thatcher over her somehow. So I would say like these are two really outstanding women, and maybe also the Queen, you know, who has just passed. But you know, these were the women who actually like shaped and changed the history, right? And
Yes.
you know, who knows? Maybe you know they also were inspired by the Queen. Like I heard a nice sentence. Somebody said, you know, when the Queen passed, is that she proved that being a woman does not hinder you from taking any function, like even being a queen, right? So yeah, you know, probably it's like a tight transaction.
I would say that no one believed in her because she became a queen when she was 26, so super young, unexperienced in life, and she had some struggles. Also surrounded by a very strong men, a lot of politics in it. So yes, and she said, actually, I really liked one of her sentence that said, and it's not going to be a one-to-one quotation, but the sense I think I will keep is that very rarely you can make one big step in order to change the way world is, but you can take small steps every day on a regular basis that will eventually bring the change. And I believe it is this consistency is very true.
Thank you for sharing such inspiring messages and stories. It was really great. And let's talk about your career, the career part, and how you overcome some challenges and develop yourselves. So, as a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career? So, have you been confronted with gender-related roadblocks somehow in your career? Aga, would you like to start, or Magda?
What a story! I don't have enough time to share mine, but I will maybe start with my studies. I have a few points that have shaped me a lot. First comes from my family. I was, as Magda, born in the 80s, so times were quite challenging for my parents and for the family as a whole. So when I got old enough to care for myself, to go to some jobs and have some extra money, I did that. So we were both my brother and I, we were working a little bit in our teens, and it helped me to understand that my presence, my being on time, my punctuality, the way I perform my work does matter, and it brings a word. So that is one thing. Second, I live in Poznań, and Poznań is a university city. So I studied as well in Poznań, and it was so comfortable to be at home with mom and dad, cooking, cleaning, washing the clothes, whatnot, because I was studying. So on my last year of studies, I decided to go to abroad for a year to study. And when looking for a location, I wanted to be far enough not to come home over weekends, as my brother did, because he went to Germany to study. So I've chosen Spain, Granada, and I have studied there for 1 year, and I can only recommend to do the same. So I think for your development as a human being and as a professional, you need to leave your home and go elsewhere where it is tough, where usually you do not know the language. That would be perfect. And where it's quite expensive, so you don't have the money enough to live there. So you need to do some activities in order to live there. And so that was the second one. And of course, one of the biggest stories of my life is the automotive industry. I could honestly say a lot of stories around that. And I was fortunate enough to have bosses who were not afraid of me, because I am a very ambitious, down-to-earth, very direct, challenging person, mainly to myself, but also to people around me. So being in automotive business was putting me on the, I would say, to the level of perfectionism that I hated, actually. And it took me a lot of time to work on it. I think perfectionism is not a good character trait, and it brings you struggle a lot to yourself mainly, but also to people around you. So I've worked in the automotive industry, and I had bosses who I had 11 bosses, and actually 13 counting OLX in my career, 12 coming from the automotive industry, and now with the setup we have, there's Lucas and Martin. If you're there, I'm saying hi. And so I think it is very important to have people around you that have good intentions, and I had that opportunity. So I would say 3 mentors helped me a lot to develop my skills. Unfortunately, I must say that the struggles I had was that automotive is super masculine, and the only position that is, I would say, well seen or obvious to these kind of sectors is women being assistants of the board, or I don't know, working in administration, HR, at most at marketing, but not very much in sales or finance or controlling, not to mention leadership positions. And since I am a sales animal, honestly, I always felt the push towards sales, and I just went to it. So and it is also true that I had to fight for myself, and the way I spoke, the way I presented myself was very often perceived as aggressive, as moody, as frustrated, whatnot. So I think, and then I came to OLX Group, and I must say a lot depends on the environment you are in, and the environment that allows you to be yourself, allows you to be vulnerable. It tells you it is okay to say, I don't know, help me. This is a word I use on a daily basis, honestly. And one maybe major thing that has helped me in OLX Group a lot to develop were actually 2 things. First of all is that I was proactively looking for feedback. So I, of course, first of all, in a controlled way with people whom I trust, whom I knew that have good intentions around me, that has helped a lot. And then secondly, just enjoy the ride. I mean, this is the key to be in any place where you are. If you do not enjoy at the time you spend at work, if you don't like the people you work with, you are most probably in the wrong place. I must say that because we spent a lot of time together, and to spend time with people I would not like would literally kill my enthusiasm. So this is super important. And the thing I am most proud of, if you would ask me that question somewhere, I can repeat that later on, is that at Automoto we are honestly a superb team, great team of people that can have can party together, that can work together, struggle, challenge each other. And this is something I value a lot. So to all the automotors in the call, kisses to you, because I really, really enjoy the ride. And I think generally in motors, we are a great team. So not to exclude anyone, but Automoto is very special to my heart and very dear to my heart. And I'm very happy. And maybe one more thing that I've put into I know I talk a lot, I'm going to shut up in 2 minutes, but one more thing that has changed me a lot is that I have decided to take part in the New York City Marathon. I put that in the description. The way how I did it, or the story how it happened, maybe is not that relevant, but what happened is for the last 11 weeks, I've started from zero, from absolutely nothing. The only activity I had was walking my dog twice a day or 3 times a day, but let's be honest. And then I started the trainings of first running and walking, and then running. And the last Sunday, I did my first 10 kilometers non-stop run. And I can only tell you, guys, if you think that you cannot do things because whatever, you can do anything. Even if you think that you do not have the skills, you can get the skills. the ones of you who know me in person, you know that I do not have a running body, let's be honest. Martin Schneider has a much better one. He's tall, thin, and is very physically, he's very capable to do really good runs like marathons. But if you feel like taking a challenge that might overwhelm you, like the one that I have in front of me, only consistency and believing in yourself can bring you there. So I can only say it's unbelievable how much the quality of my life improved when I started running. And that was my last sentence. Magda, over to you.
So yeah, I could touch on so many points, also on automotive, because I had the pleasure to back in Google to work with automotive industry for 2 years, and I have to yeah, everything that Aga said is very, very true. I've so many times how even the guys in the industry tried to make me shy a bit, like by using some kind of language that was very, very strong, or like doing this kind of jokes that were supposed to make me blush. And I'm honestly, if you look at me, I'm like a book. So whatever emotions come up, you see it. So if somebody says a dirty joke, I'm red, right? So no makeup helps. So but it's I have to say, like, Aga, you're coming from a very manly industry, but working with you and knowing you on a daily level, it didn't make you any more like masculine or whatever. You're like, I'm also operating on some kind of bias, so I don't want to say too much, but I know you, and you are the way you are, but you mix these features that are kind of perceived as a bit of manly. So you mentioned this aggression thing, right? That sometimes I had this thing that somebody told me that I'm over emotional, or somebody even said that that you had to work 2 times harder because you're a woman, right? So this was not the best thing in my life to hear it, but the good thing is that you very rarely realize that it is happening to you, right? It is so many times, it's after you finish or close some part of book that you realize, oh my God, I was doing this, or I was experiencing that. So the good thing is that this is, I think that we have this like naturally in us, is that if you start doing things and you're motivated, you're just doing it, right? And you're not like thinking, oh my God, I'm suffering so much, or I'm acting not this or the other way. So this is this internal drive that is in us, and it just doesn't stop. But yeah, I had this few times where I got it a bit like harder, but in fact, like in so many times, it was a verification of my toughness. So they were just checking, like trying me if I can manage that. But generally, I have to say that in OLX, it is a very much different environment. I don't know if it's about that our company is just young, and young in terms of comparing to other companies, and we don't have that much of legacy like banking or stuff. By the way, I never worked for banking, and I can just imagine how it feels to be there. But I think that we are lucky, to be in technology, because it doesn't have that much legacy, and we were shaped by that industry, being the 80s, 90s kids, now 2000s kids joining the company. But I think that we just formed a different company, and that we still feel that, of course, we don't change everything on a regular basis, but if we see something that needs changing, we do it. And I think it's a very huge advantage, to our workplace. Over to you, Leonor.
You mentioned mentorship and the importance of having a mentor. Do you have one, and what do you learn from them?
Yes, so it shapes me. 70% of our learning, I would say, time we learn by experiencing things, sharing things, and just on spot doing. And I love to talk to people. My history teacher from my primary school, and this is something I still remember, said, talk to people. And it's so easy, but at the same time, so difficult. So yes, definitely. I think that, you know, very important thing is that you are never alone, and you do not become a leader. You do not become Bill Gates or Steve Jobs of the world on your own. You have people who help you. So the moment you realize that you need help, and it is okay to say, I need help, I do not know things, changes completely the pace and also the feeling that you have when you undertake a challenge. So yes, I do have a mentor. It's a person I value a lot as a human being. And I think this is the key factor of having a mentor and someone to help you. If you have the same core of values in life, and you will get along. And it's a person that it is not a person from OLX Group. It's someone from external. It's not even a person from automotive. It's someone whom I got to know some years ago. And I am this opinion of this person is super important to me, super crucial. And I do share moments when I struggle, when I don't know the way out, when I feel, I don't know, ashamed, weak, not know what to do. So I do have these moments, and I'm sharing that with you guys very openly. Normally, I most probably wouldn't, but having a person that you trust and that helps you come through a challenge is the key. And these are usually not very big things, right? These are not like miles to go. It's a marathon, guys. It's not. We are here for a marathon run, and it helps a lot. So I encourage you to seek for support and help. We have so many wonderful people in the organization. And I must also tell you, because you know that I've started, or maybe I have not said that, as head of operations in OLX Group. And then I became the GM. And I must tell you that the biggest enemy of myself was myself. So I had these images in my head, or some I would say images of people in our company, of teams in the company, that I could not approach them because this person is this and that or whatever. And the moment I did, and I had once I did a challenge for me to, throughout one quarter, talk to as many new people as I can in the organization that are not even connected to motors. And that broadens a lot the perspective. It shows that we are in a very special place. As Magda has said, we are truly different. The ones of you who have joined us from different companies, you for sure notice it. But the ones of you for whom it's your first job, you're lucky to experience and to learn in this group of people, in this environment that allows you to be yourself. That is something that I truly value. I must say that I had, and I will put a little pinch of salt into this sweet context, because I must say that this year's let's say events that happened in February and have shaped a little bit the situation around us. I'm talking about the war in Ukraine, and the level of, I don't even know how to call it. I was disappointed by the level of comments or the bad energy that was coming through Slido questions on webinars and meetings where we as leadership were on the screens in front of you, as we are today. And we are also human beings, guys. And this is something that we need to remember. And even though today we are in the positions we are in, but tomorrow everything can change. So we are also people. A lot of things that happen around us, we do not have an impact on. But what we do have an impact on as a group of people and the company that we are in is the way we treat each other. And it has to be reminded over and over again, because this, and I know there were a lot of emotions in that time in all of us, and it was very, very challenging moment, professionally, privately. So I'm happy we are over it. But if I could ask us one thing, let's safeguard the precious place we are in, and we are, as said, great group of people. And if someone is not as great as we are, let's just talk to them and help them maybe go through some struggle, just to create a great place of work. And I truly believe we are.
I'm gonna be like probably say a few words in contrast to what, but just some. So I personally don't have one mentor, and when we were talking about these obstacles and stuff, I remember myself being a big obstacle to myself, you know, like you're your worst enemy. And I remember the times when I was really craving feedback from people, like really, I wanted to hear everything what people, especially like professionally, of course. And then at some point, I just realized that it really matters who gives you feedback, who that person is to you, and how they give you feedback. Because, you know, you can smell a shitty feedback. Sorry for the word, but you can kind of see like they don't know what they're talking about, right? So this is why I think, you know, I felt kind of bad that I did not have this. Maybe mentor is a bad word, but authority, somebody who I really admired, because I was like, you know, of course, like Bill Gates is great, Warren Buffett is great, and Elon Musk is some kind of great, but do I really appreciate these people? Like, you know, would I like for them to be my mentors? I'm not sure. So I decided to go a bit of a different way and try to take bits and pieces from different people. And for myself, I appreciate mentors that I find in very unexpected places. There is this saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I gained a lot by going out of my bubble, because like professionally and company wise, you know, we are pretty similar, right? You know, the people that I meet, that, you know, that I party with, they are similar. We are similar to each other. So and this is not how the whole world looks like. So I decided, you know, to get out of this bubble and be in some places, talk to some people that come from different backgrounds, work in different places, do different things, and they're just different. And there comes my adventure with my Muay Thai trainer. This is one of the hobbies that I can mention that are kind of like, I mean, like a lot of people do fight sports, right? And I'm generally not great at that. I'm pretty slow. I'm not a sprinter, right? And, you know, this connection between eye and hand, you know, like you have to be really fast to protect yourself, because, you know, 1 second of lack of attention and, you know, you're down. So this guy who used to be world champion in Muay Thai, you know, this is a I don't want to take away anything, you know, or to add anything to anybody, but he's a pretty straightforward guy, you know. But I noticed that he has these natural things, like his inner compass, his morality, that I actually felt, you know, what he said. And the things that he said were pretty straightforward, simple, and they could be applied, you know, to work stuff and to lifestyle. So you know, I gathered these kind of like these moments of inspiration, these kind of small mentorships all around, and I try to keep it growing and not to close myself. And I think that with this point, like I also learned not to care about some feedback that is not asked for. So if somebody is telling me what they think about how I do, and I never ask them politely, I can say, you know, like, thank you, but you know, you're not on my top 5 people list that I want to get feedback from. It may be perceived as a kind of like rude or defensive, whatever. But I think that, you know, giving good feedback is also a big effort, and you really have to know a person. You have to make an effort to know the person, to give them a good quality feedback. And this is the feedback that I want. And I try to filter what I hear from people, and of course, try to be objective, but but I think that, you know, in order to have this objectiveness, I think that you have to reach out, you know, into many places and for the people to see you in different situations. So yeah, this helped me.
Mhm. And since we are talking about self-awareness and how we can deal with bad feedback and how we get impact us, how do you manage self-doubt? So how do you build confidence and resilience over the course of your career in your personal life?
Okay, so I may take this one on. I think that you have to make friends with failure. You have to get used to the part that failure is a part of getting better at stuff. And this was very hard for me. And I think that Aga can somehow also relate, because she mentioned she's a perfectionist. So you know, I'm the oldest kid, and I took care of my two sisters, and I think that I felt this, you know, this overwhelming responsibility about doing stuff well, and that failure is something to be ashamed of. And I think I read a really good book recently about failure. Is that one of the bases on bringing kids up? Is that you try to show them that failure is not fatal, right? It's not final thing. Of course, otherwise, if you work in a hospital, it may be a different situation, but we don't work in a hospital here. So we are lucky that we can fail, and nobody will probably, you know, if we admit, like, I've never met anybody in this company who made any failure or who failed somehow and admitted to it and got fired, right? So we are allowed in this company to make these failures. It is accepted here. I still somehow feel a bit of shame. It's a very low kind of feeling, but I still feel it. But I try to treat it as a part of the experience and part of me being or getting good at something. So failure is one. I think that the second on building resilience and fighting self-doubt is building very good human support at work and in life. So bringing or building, you know, people who cheer for you, or, you know, who always have time to pick up the phone from you or to listen, you know, to you moaning and groaning. Sometimes it's, you know, it happens and it's very natural. And, you know, you can have both of these people in work environment and in life environment, therapy, whatever suits you, just choose it. So talking to people is, and having people who listen to you is super important in building the strength inside. Also, writing helps. If you put things in writing, I heard the one saying that writing sharpens thinking. So if you put these words on paper and kind of like can look the next day, you know, and what was there inside you, then I think that you distance yourself, you know, from these extreme feelings, and you feel so much lighter. I do also read a lot, and I'm a total bookworm. I think that books are really, really good friends, and you can find many answers in books because people write them, people have experiences, people go through stuff. So books are reflections of what we went through life, and I can always relate, you know, to somebody, even in fiction, right? I can always relate, you know, to some story that, you know, some hero in the book was going through, because, you know, everything, life is an inspiration. Like in books, even in science fiction, all the stories come from life. Yeah, I'm thinking if I have anything to add. And I think that forgiving yourself is also a very, very good thing in this process, because nobody is perfect. If you talk to people and if you see, like, you know, Aga spoke up previously, you know, we are also like humans. We are weak. We have our bad moments. And if you see that you're not the only person who struggles, then it changes so much. I have a neighbor that is sick with terminal cancer. And she taught me a lot. Like, I mean, she's not like a teacher per se, but how she approaches life and how she lives her life, knowing that, you know, she's dying. That's a very, very good lesson for me. And I think that if you see that other people struggle, maybe their struggles are 3 times worse than yours, then you get so much perspective, and then you feel that maybe even what you experience is a kind of gift and way, you know, to build a better life for yourself. So I think that not being alienated in the world, both at work and in personal life, has a huge factor for it.
I'm going to tackle it from a different angle. And I must tell you that I talk a lot to myself on a daily basis. So every morning when I wake up, I look in the mirror and I say, "Hi, beautiful, how are you today?" And I really do. And there is one song that I play to myself every day in the morning. It's going to be a lovely day. This is the song. And I believe one of the all hands at Automata I have started like that. And it brings me already to the moon in terms of my humor and my emotions. And I run, which also gives me a lot of boost. So today I'm very much driven by that because I did the run in the morning. But a little bit jokes aside, this writing piece that Magda mentioned, actually, I have a diary Friday, I call it. So every Friday I have 2 hours in the afternoon where I go to a room that I love at home, into my favorite chair, and I write in a diary. So most probably tomorrow I will write about that meeting that we have here. And it is true that putting your emotions, your feelings on paper helps you a lot. And when I reflect what I have written 2 months ago, it's so funny, but it's also so enriching. So self-awareness is very, very important. And I can only agree with what Magda has said. So it took me a lot of time to fight my perfectionism. The only one that I cannot fight is at home, because I love to have tidy home. So I clean a lot, and my boyfriend doesn't. So you can imagine what happens. And but apart from that, at work, I really pay a lot of attention and focus to let loose, and to say that good enough is excellent, because sometimes it is enough. And I also read an amazing book that I can only recommend you, which is called Essentialism. It's about focusing and focusing on the right things at work, but also in life. So what is helping me through this struggle is I got myself a dog, and I can only recommend you to do the same. I started to run, and I'm also, I have people around me whom I trust. They aren't always sweet to me, but I don't like this constant sweetness, kills me. So I also like this challenging feedback. And this failure topic, this is something that is super crucial. I believe it is very typical for us in Poland that we have been brought up as modest people. We do not boast about things we succeed in. We do not talk about things that went well, not much. We only focus on the bad things. Whereas if you go to the US, everything is fantastic. We have a great day, everything is cool. So I guess all of us should go for a little while to the US to take a little bit of that. And I honestly think, guys, that but this came with age, I must say, is I simply enjoy my life, honestly. And I have learned that focusing what will happen in a year or half a year, also throughout the last 2.5 years experience with COVID, with the Ukrainian war, no one would write that history of Europe, no one. So we can, I would say, focus on the things that you can influence, that you can have an impact on, and go on. And if you have a bad moment, speak up. Speak up. I have a bad moment. I'm not capable of handling things now the way I used to because of whatever, or even without because of. Just share. Sharing is caring, and talking to people is always good.
And I also second on the dog, like get yourself a dog.
Honestly, yeah.
Either choose a breed that you may be kind of like relating to, or adopt. You know, dogs will love you no matter what you do.
Other animals most probably as well, but I can only speak from a dog experience. But yeah,
I had a parrot. It was a good pet too, but but I think that maybe there's a different pet for some part of your life. I don't know, maybe for different periods of your life.
Yeah, I agree with the dog part. And
hey, Eleanor, do we want the audience to ask us questions? Do we want to take a chance that we have so
Yes,
many
since we-
people and just let them shoot
we
out
have
questions to us if they have? Guys, if you have,
10
just
minutes.
shoot it on chat or whatever. We are very happy to answer
Just
if you have
unmute.
any, or speak up.
Just unmute yourself or just add question in the chat.
Yeah. Come on, there must be something.
Thank you for your fluent discourse from both of you. In the beginning, you mentioned something about being vulnerable and how it helps you. I wonder if you can develop a little bit on that, and if you consider it to be more of a woman's feature, or you found out throughout, throughout other people, men included, etc. And if it's a cultural,
Thank you.
a cultural feature as well.
Thank you for the question. I actually, in the last 3 days, I attended a conference about electric vehicles, e-mobility, and I was also invited to a debate with women, and exactly the same question came. If it is not being seen as a weakness, a women feature, whatnot. Honestly, I'm not a man, so I cannot say, but I had a lot of masculinity in me. As I told you, men shaped me in my life. So my grandpa, my dad, my brother, and the mentors I had were usually masculine. So I took a lot from them of this masculinity. I think, as I said, the moment I started to say, I don't know, help me, I'm not feeling okay, it's not my day today, and sharing my personal life with the people I trust has completely changed the way I executed my leadership behaviors or follow the leadership behaviors. And it might be, Gonzalo, that it is a women thing, but I would say that more than a women thing, it's a environment you are in thing. So I was not like that when I used to work for Porsche for 9 years, because the surroundings around me, surroundings around me, and Magda can say something about that because we worked together, did not allow me to show vulnerability. And this is connected with the fact that, I was emotional, weak, whatnot. We cannot put her into managing position because she's this, and that, hard to work with, whatnot. And that's why I think we are in a good spot, because OLX around the world, I would even say, it's not about Poland, but we are building an environment where people can be themselves. And regardless of the fact if it's a male or a female, you can be one. And I had situations in the past 4.5 years where gentlemen were talking to me, and these were the most precious moments that I'm mostly proud of, is that the men in the team came to me and were sharing some stories they had, and we were trying to support and help. So I don't think there's a clear answer. I think what Magda has said is super important. Whenever the student is ready, the teacher appears. So, and I think it is connected to everything. So whenever you're ready to be vulnerable, the environment you're in will let you in, but you need to be in the right one. So but it honestly changes the way we perform as well.
Yeah, if I may add to this also, like, I think I've never met a human that was not vulnerable somehow. Like, I think that only if we speak up about this, it changes. Probably it is biased culturally, environmentally, maybe gender-based, but I think even if it's not spoken, you can feel it and you can see it. Even if you're a boss, your CEO gets triggered by something, it means they have the vulnerabilities, but admitting to them they may be obvious, but admitting to them and speaking up about them is maybe like in the first step, maybe considered a bit as weak on, especially on this managing and high positions. But in fact, I think I see more and more people going in the other way, and I think that at this point, like the trend is that we allow for ourselves to admit these things, because in fact they are true. It's actually what you see. If somebody gets triggered, angry with something, maybe their ego was kind of lessened or whatever, you can feel it. That person is vulnerable there. This is her or his vulnerability. I think we cannot speak probably for the whole company, right? But what we're trying is, like, I personally don't see it as a weakness, if it comes from men or women, if they admit, they have a hard time. And it doesn't matter if it's a work thing or a professional or a private thing. It's pretty natural for me that it is there. And, you can lie about it and you can try to hide it, but in fact, if you know a person, they know their weaknesses and how it triggers them. So I think it's a human thing to be vulnerable. It's we are probably culturally a bit bred to hide it or show it more, but it's changing, and that's good.
Thank you. And for sure, just one observation. I don't think it's a weakness. Quite the other way around. It makes you, it shows that you're strong and comfortable. Maybe you're comfortable in the environment you are in. Otherwise, you would not show that side of you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe there was also a question in our plan. If somebody has any questions, please interrupt us. But there was also a question about balance. So maybe we can speak with Aga about this. So I'm so bad with balance. Like, I would like to say that, I know how to keep balance, and I'm, work-life balance, whatever. But I'm a person of a few extremes in my life, and I don't like to disturb myself when I'm enjoying things. So, if I'm reading a good book, I'm gonna read it until I finish. If I watch Game of Thrones, I'm gonna wait till the morning to do it. And of course, like, I have to get up in the morning and to train or whatever, but I'm not great at that. I know it's recommended, I know it's healthier, and it takes a toll on me. So if I do go extreme in work, or start not to eat well, sleep less and stuff, it takes a toll on my health and my condition, general condition. But I also, as Aga said, it's true, it comes with age. It's a good thing about aging, that you actually start to really, really accept, be happy with the life that you have and how you live. So, I just got kind of accustomed to that. This is the way I am. Of course, I try to watch it, and if I go too extreme in one side, I know that I have to get back, home, like hide myself from the world, like for a weekend or something, and then rejuvenate. But I think it's a good thing to listen to your body, because like my body also tells me, like, every time if something is wrong. If I get overstressed, I get sick immediately, or whenever my throat goes out, I know that I talk too much. So now, Magda, you go silent and, you listen to people now. And I think that the gut feelings and the signals that you get from your body are very important. It's this thing when you get to know somebody and you get this thing that, oh, I can't trust this person, or I'm super comfy with that person. I go by it. Of course, I try also to reevaluate it after some time, but I go with these feelings. I guess that there's some magic in the body that is more than just mind, because mind is also a very good cheater. It's not always rational. It works its own ways. So at this moment, I think I may deal with this, that, you know, I'm not great in balance. I know what happens if I go out of balance too much. I know how to deal with this. So I try not to panic, but I just see, okay, this is going here. So I need, you know, my 2 solitary days, or a solitary day by myself totally, or, you know, go to nature, whatever. And I think this is how I deal with this. And I try not to burden myself with these very high expectations that, you know, you should have a good work-life balance. You know, sometimes it's just impossible, and that's okay, right? As long as you have friends who will call you after a month and tell you like, hey, well, where the hell are you? Like, you know, you didn't call me like since a month, like wake the hell up. So it's good because you have this, you know, this security people in your life planted somewhere, and they will help you take care of yourself. So yeah, that's my take on balance. Aga, how is yours?
I actually am quite good in life-work balance, and I on purpose say life-work and not work-life. I tell you how I do it. I do sports and I have a dog, and I have my routines that are only for me, and very, very rarely I send SMS or emails which are work-based after 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And the moment I finish a working day, I really finish a working day. But I must tell you that it happened only a half a year ago. So I was not very good at it as Magda. I love to work, and as I told you, I really like our team. So I like talking to them, and we have a few guys here, and Tomek Sukowski, I saw him somewhere here. We had endless phone calls, 40, 50 minutes, 1 hour of calls around so many topics, and I really love to talk to people. But I think that maybe a tip from me, if I would help myself, I would do that earlier. So I would simply find my activities like I have now with running. It's so unbelievable. It's so simple, but at the same time, so hard to do. I train 3 to 4 times a week. I actually woke up today at 6:40. It was 20 minutes before my alarm clock. And you cannot imagine how much struggling I had for these 20 minutes to go for the run, or just to skip it and maybe go in the afternoon or go elsewhere. But then I put myself together and I started the run, and it is so rewarding. So just find yourself a space where you could digest all the emotions that you have in you, or all the things that you have also from life, because life is also challenging. It's not only work. There are topics in life that are somehow around us that can cost you energy. So do sports, get yourself a dog, and what Magda has said is super important. If you feel that it's too much, just take a break, simply.
I think we could have filled more than just hour, right? No,
I feel like, yeah. I feel like, guys, if there's, I know people are already dropping off. So if you feel like you want more from us, I'm very happy to grab a virtual coffee or a real one in the office. I'm going to be in Portugal in 2 weeks time, a week and a half, on Monday, 26th of September.
Me too.
Yay. So if our Portuguese team would like to catch up with us or see us in person, just Slack us and we'll be there. So thank you for joining.
Thank you
so much. It was really great.
Thank you, Leonor, for having us. Thank you, Magda, for being here. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.